Canelo done something that is amazing. When Canelo was able to go to light heavyweight and become light heavyweight champion, something that I didn't even see him going up that heavy, and he did that.
Lands good punches. I think Canelo could hurt Crawford. Crawford's, first time in that division and jumping 2 divisions.
They Terence Crawford being, to me, my favorite fighter. I mean, the best fighter pound for pound can be Canelo. I mean, a 147-pounder moving up to 68.
Floyd Mayweather recently shared his thoughts on why he believes Terence Crawford won't be able to defeat Canelo Álvarez. According to Mayweather, the main factor isn't just skill, it's the weight gap. Moving up multiple weight classes, he explained, requires more than talent. A fighter has to deal with the extra size, punching power, and stamina that come with those heavier divisions. Mayweather pointed out that Canelo has spent his career competing against naturally bigger opponents and thriving at those higher levels. On the other hand, Crawford will be entering unfamiliar ground, taking on challenges he's never faced before. In Mayweather's view, that difference in size and experience gives Canelo a decisive edge, no matter how sharp Crawford's technical abilities may be.
Because of the weight disadvantage. I can't go all the way up to 180 or 190 pounds.
Boxing coach Robert Garcia has voiced concerns about Terence Crawford stepping into the super middleweight division. He believes this move could be one of the toughest challenges Crawford has ever faced. While Crawford has already proven his skill by dominating across several weight classes, Garcia argues that competing at Canelo Álvarez's natural division is a completely different test. According to Garcia, Canelo has built his career battling and beating naturally larger opponents, refining his power and technique at that weight over many years. Crawford, by contrast, hasn't yet shown whether he can carry his trademark speed, sharpness, and endurance after bulking up. Garcia also observed that Crawford's body still looks like it's adjusting to the extra pounds, making him seem less explosive and not quite as fluid as before. That in Garcia's view, those physical differences could play a major role once Crawford steps in against Canelo, a fighter who has long thrived in the super middleweight division.
Jumping 2 divisions where he only had 1 fight at 154 and didn't look his best either. So there's a lot of questions, about that, and that's why a lot of people think Canelo is going to knock out Crawford, but I'm probably one of the only ones that I do give Crawford a chance. Yeah. I think Crawford could pull it off. Crawford is very talented. He's very fast. He's very smart in the ring. So I think a perfect fight, Crawford could pull off a decision.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think he could win a decision. I don't pick him. I wouldn't put my money on him winning because it's a very dangerous, risky fight, especially with Canelo being so strong. But Canelo's last few performances, he's looked slow, flat-footed, looking for 1 punch at a time. And if that's the Canelo that fights Crawford, Crawford could win a decision. Crawford could outbox him, could outsmart him, could land 3-4 punch combinations and move and win a decision. So do I give Crawford a chance? 100% think Crawford could pull it off. Would I put my money on it? Probably not, but I do give him a chance.
Yeah, good stuff. Look, Robert, appreciate you taking time to speak to me. I appreciate you letting me in the gym today. Always a pleasure. And hopefully be catching up sometime soon.
Thanks
appreciate
for coming.
it. Thank
you
you.
very
Cheers.
much.
The analyst highlights just how massive the stakes are in the upcoming clash between Terence Crawford and Canelo Álvarez. He explains that if Crawford can overcome Canelo's natural size and punching power, it would instantly elevate his legacy to new heights. Such a victory could secure Crawford a spot right beside Floyd Mayweather in the debate over the sport's all-time greats. Defeating a champion of Canelo's caliber, the analyst argues, would firmly establish Crawford as a pound-for-pound king of this generation, removing any doubts that still linger about his resume. At the same time, he clarifies that even such an accomplishment wouldn't necessarily surpass Mayweather's legacy. Mayweather's unbeaten record and dominance across multiple eras still remain unmatched. Still, the opportunity for Crawford to reach that rare level of recognition makes this showdown one of the most defining moments in modern boxing history.
3-time undisputed is insane. If you were to beat Canelo, Terence Crawford, at that point, pound for pound, right under Floyd. Wherever you got Floyd, I put whatever you got him, Terence Crawford's right behind him. Unless you got him first. Okay, how about me? Because I don't have Floyd in my top 10. I have Pacquiao over Floyd. So I know somebody's about to get moist, but I would put Terence Crawford. Man, shit. Man, that's old school. That's Henry Armstrong, Sam Langford. Like that's old. That's Joe Gans and Barbados Joe Walcott and Barbados Joe, not Jersey. I'm Barbados. Like that's old school accomplishments. Man, that's throwback. I would have to assess that. 3-time undisputed in the 4-belt era, and against who? Yo, that I don't think Pacquiao would have I don't think he achieved anything in a single fight that would be greater than Terence Crawford jumping up 3 weight classes and beating Canelo. I don't think Pacquiao achieved anything in a single fight greater than that. Not in a single fight. Beating Cotto, I still, because Cotto was weight drain. Has Floyd done anything? Well, he beat Canelo.
Jeff Mayweather had a strong response to Canelo Alvarez's recent statement that Terence Crawford is better than Floyd Mayweather. According to Jeff, this isn't really about who's greater. It's more about Canelo trying to boost his own image. Since Canelo suffered a clear loss to Floyd, suggesting that Crawford is superior gives him an indirect excuse for that defeat, Jeff acknowledged Crawford's incredible talent, but made it clear that he hasn't yet reached Floyd's level of dominance or accomplishments. He pointed out that Floyd's undefeated record and his ability to consistently outclass top-tier opponents set him apart. In Jeff's view, any comparison between Crawford and Floyd is premature until Crawford adds much more to his career resume.
Well, also, if we remember, Canelo, that time was a razor-thin decision. Floyd won, majority decision. C.J. Ross had it with what a lot of people had as a draw. And then the other 2 judges scored it for Floyd, of course.
Yeah, nobody had it.
And that was a Floyd at the top of his game with a very green Canelo with very little experience, and he took him, into deep waters. So
what was Canelo? What, 20-something? 20 what? 23, 25?
Yeah, he was. Very, very young in the game, obviously.
Very young. He had more fights than Floyd, and he lost.
Yeah, but
a man that was 30-something years old, 36.
But Floyd was clearly at the top of his career, and Canelo had fought a lot of people. But
how you at the top of your career in your prime? You in your prime? You ain't in your prime when you're at 36. That's not your prime.
Did he lose? I mean,
your prime is in your 20s.
It's different for different people.
Yeah, okay. Well, it sure, and that's why Canelo is saying what he's saying.
But want to
make himself look like he did something great.
Trainer Joel Diaz doesn't see Terence Crawford having much of a chance against Canelo Alvarez, pointing directly to the major size difference between the 2 fighters. He reminded fans that Canelo has already gone toe-to-toe with some of the sport's hardest punchers, men who brought not only knockout power but also incredible durability. Diaz questioned how Crawford, who has mainly faced opponents closer to his natural weight, could seriously hurt someone who has proven capable of taking punches from a powerhouse like Gennady Golovkin. While acknowledging Crawford's skill set, Diaz argued that technique alone can't erase a gap in size and strength, though he added that fighters often underestimate how much the jump in weight impact them until they actually feel the shots from naturally bigger opponents. In this case, Diaz believes Canelo's toughness, power, and proven resilience create an obstacle Crawford simply won't be able to overcome.
You ask him who Skull is, they won't even know who he is. I don't even know who he is. But they chose him for a reason, right? A guy with a good record. But
he's a champion in
the champion.
He's got the kind of the other stone that's out there that Canelo needs to connect. Again, the fight against Terence Crawford.
It's a fight for Canelo to win. Simple as that. That's what I can tell you.
Then in September, Canelo wins. He's got Terence Crawford waiting in the wings.
There is no way that Terence Crawford, being to me my favorite fighter, the best fighter pound for pound, can beat Canelo. A 147 pounder moving up to 68. He can only maybe go 2-3 rounds, good 2-3 rounds, and then Canelo hits him and he hurts him. Canelo's being hit by Triple G, the hardest hitter in the division, and never hurt him. But Canelo will hit Crawford and he'll hurt him. Let's put it this way. You remember the fight Benavidez and Demetrius Andre?
Yes.
Demetrius Andre was a great fighter. Nobody wanted to fight him at 54. He moved to 60. Fight 1 or 2. Nobody wanted to fight him at 60. So what did he do? He moved up to 68 because there was nothing for him to fight Benavidez, a big big fighter like that, I mean, look what he did in the first early round. Demetrius Johnson was in control. He was doing great. But once that weight starts kicking in, it takes over. There is no way that Crawford can beat Canelo. I mean, Turkey on the cheek. It's a big fan of Terence Crawford. Wants to give him a good payday, and simple as that. That's all it is, man.
Debates over the size of the ring have added another layer of intrigue to the Crawford versus Canelo matchup. Whether it's an 18-foot ring or a full 22 feet, most experts agree that the dimensions won't drastically change the outcome. Supporters of Crawford argue that a larger ring could give him more space to use his sharp footwork, angles, and defensive skills to keep Canelo at bay. They believe this extra room might help him avoid the constant pressure that Canelo brings. On the other hand, analysts remind fans that Canelo has fought in both small and large rings throughout his career and adapted successfully each time. While a bigger ring might give Crawford a slight edge in movement, it won't erase a clear difference in size and power. In the end, this fight is likely to come down to execution and strategy inside the ropes, not the dimensions of the ring.
One of the biggest things in this Canelo-Crawford fight we are not talking about is the ring size. If these guys are fighting in the non-traditional 18 by 18 ring, you're gonna want to put your money on Canelo, guys. It is a big difference. Losing out on that extra 4 feet is gonna be an issue for Crawford. It's still possible. Crawford's talented, he's athletic, he has all the potential in the world to pull off a crazy upset here. No matter the ring size, it don't matter. Terence Crawford's that brilliant, he's that excellent. But I'm gonna tell you, man, losing out on that 4 feet is gonna hurt his odds. It's the same thing with 22 feet. Like I said, I don't know what ring they're going with, but if it is in the 22 feet, it's gonna hurt Canelo's odds by a pretty decent margin. Maybe not as much as it's gonna hurt Crawford odds in the 18, but it's still gonna hurt it. You're giving Crawford an extra 4 feet to pivot, maneuver, slip, bob, weave, do whatever he wants. That's gonna give Canelo some issues. I feel like we're not talking about this enough. I heard Turkey said it was gonna be an 18. That was a really long time ago. Like I said, I don't know if they've confirmed what it's gonna be quite yet, but I think it's interesting. Once we get the official announcement, you guys, that's when you place your bets.
Terence Crawford's dominant victory over Errol Spence Jr. has many fans believing he could also topple Canelo Álvarez. That performance put Crawford's timing, adaptability, and killer instinct on full display, cementing his status as a clear king of the welterweight division. Still, experts urge caution. While Spence is a high-level fighter, he isn't the kind of naturally bigger opponent that Crawford will encounter at super middleweight. Analysts point to boxers like Israel Madrimov as examples of the size and strength Crawford hasn't yet had to deal with. Canelo, on the other hand, has years of experience battling men even larger than himself, and still competing at the sport's highest level. The concern, then, is whether Crawford's brilliance at welterweight will carry over when faced with a physically imposing champion like Canelo.
Hey y'all, the simple real fact is, Terence Crawford never looked that good fighting anybody but Errol Spence. Another real fact is, y'all put too much on Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford. Y'all act like he just beat fucking Jesus or Thanos or something. Okay, I get it. Errol Spence was that guy. He beat him. He dominated him. He won that fight. But y'all take that and y'all put so much on that fight, but then y'all look at the Madrimov fight and say, he was a tricky fighter. He's hard for anybody. No one can beat Madrimov. He's the second best fighter in the world because he went 12 rounds with Crawford. Not the case. Y'all put too much on the Errol Spence fight and y'all don't put enough on the Madrimov fight. Then we go back to Canelo. Y'all say Canelo, he don't stop nobody. When last time he knocked nobody? If he can't knock out Berlanga, he's not gonna knock out. If he can't knock out him, he's not gonna knock out Crawford, bruh. Just like Crawford went up to 54 and he couldn't get a knockout, Canelo has gone up to 75. He couldn't knock out Bivol. He went up to 68, and those guys are way bigger. He's fighting guys way bigger than him. Crawford could knock out Madrimov because he's his size. So you think he gonna knock out Canelo? He's bigger than Canelo. Bro, Canelo got a granite chin. I don't know if y'all know the Canelo. And the only people who's saying that Crawford's gonna knock Canelo out is people who has to be casuals. They probably have not watched a fight since the Tank last fight, or they probably ain't watched a fight since the Errol Spence versus Bud Crawford fight. Cause I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all niggas didn't even see that Madrimov fight. Y'all just synced it and y'all running with it. Cut it out.
Gabe Rosado looked back on Canelo Álvarez's defeat to Floyd Mayweather, calling it a turning point in the Mexican star's career. At that stage, Rosado explained, Canelo was still developing and didn't yet have the experience required to deal with a defensive genius like Floyd. He believes that although the loss was humbling, it ultimately became one of the most important lessons of Canelo's journey. From that point forward, Canelo built confidence, sharpened his technique, and learned how to adjust against a wide range of styles. Rosado stressed that this growth has transformed Canelo into a far more dangerous fighter today than the version who stepped into the ring with Mayweather. For Crawford, that means he won't be facing a young and inexperienced Alvarez. He'll be up against a seasoned, battle-tested champion who has learned from every challenge.
Could be too soon for Xander, but who knows, man? I mean, who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you feel like Canelo needed more seasoning when he fought Floyd, or do you think that Floyd just got his number? Period.
Yeah, I think he was very inexperienced when he fought Floyd. You know, he's a different fighter, but see, everybody's different. That fight is what made Canelo become the fighter that he is today. So, you know, that's why boxing, man, is like when they shame guys for losses, it's like, man, you just got to really see how a fighter bounces back from a loss. It's like, because, you know, when Canelo lost to Floyd, there was a lot of things that Canelo learned in that fight that he added to his game. Next thing you know, Canelo started moving his head and his counters got better and his speed, and he understood timing. He understood how to like break guys down differently because he learned that off Floyd. So I think it was a good learning experience for Canelo. And then, you know, I think that kind of fight is gonna help him in the Crawford fight.
Sebastian Fundora offered a word of caution, suggesting that Terence Crawford may not fully realize the toll a fight with Canelo Álvarez could take. He explained that competing at super middleweight isn't just about showing up in shape. It demands years of adjustment and experience, something Canelo has mastered over time. The Mexican superstar has built his career battling naturally bigger opponents and thriving in the grind of the division. Crawford, on the other hand, would be stepping into this weight class for the very first time. That lack of long-term adaptation, Fundora believes, could leave Crawford vulnerable, both physically and mentally. He warned that while the fight itself may be competitive, the aftermath could reveal the true strain Crawford endured by testing himself against a seasoned champion who has made super middleweight his home.
Could be. We'll see what PBC has for us.
Should play with Canelo or Crawford?
Canelo.
Yeah.
Canelo.
What do you think is the most significant part of that matchup in Canelo versus Crawford?
That he's comfortable at 168. You know, that he's been fighting there. He went and collected all the belts at that weight class. Crawford, of course, Crawford has a chance. He has a big chance, you know, being one of the pound-for-pound fighters of the world. But it's just the advantage of being there first. You know what to expect in that weight class. Crawford's coming off a 154 fight that he fought last year. So I really don't consider him even a 154. He's been fighting at 147 for a while. He had that one fight at 154, and then he stopped fighting for a year again. So, you know, of course he's probably been training, you know, again, high-class fighter. But to be comfortable at 168, you're going to have to do some fights in there. And going in there fighting the undisputed champion, it's going to take a toll.
What about Ennis? He's the new addition to 154. He's yet to fight there. Canelo brought him in camp specifically because he's a switch hitter like Terence Crawford. What do you make of Ennis just not being in your division and then him contributing to Canelo's camp heading into this fight? Is that a good move?
I think it's good for Canelo's camp to have a fighter like Ennis. Because, he likes to switch right-handed, southpaw. I think Canelo probably didn't need that. But, the fact that Ennis went might cause a little bit of drama. I think he did for a dramatic effect. But, great fighter at 147, but 154 is a different division. They have me in there, so we'll see what he could.
Critics frequently weigh in on the contrast between Terence Crawford and Canelo Álvarez when it comes to entertainment value inside the ring. Crawford's skill set is undeniable. He's sharp, strategic, and technically sound. However, some argue that his fights don't always deliver the kind of explosive highlights that casual fans crave. Canelo, by comparison, has built his legacy on creating dramatic moments. Whether it's brutal knockouts, punishing body shots, or unforgettable high-stakes showdowns. That flair has made him a global attraction. Even if Crawford were to pull off a victory against Canelo, analysts caution it wouldn't instantly make him the face of boxing. To truly seize that mantle, Crawford would likely need to take on even bigger challenges, names like Dmitry Bivol and other naturally larger opponents. Only by proving himself against that level of danger could Crawford step into the same worldwide spotlight that Canelo currently commands.
more nervous, the closer you get, the more outlandish these statements were. We had one outlandish one that his fighting style is not entertaining. Right? Canelo's fighting style is more entertaining than Terence Crawford's. I don't know what lens you're looking through, right? Well, why isn't Terence Crawford's fighting style entertaining? So that's one thing. Well, here's the next one. Now, check this out. They're saying that Terence Crawford won't even be great if he were to defeat Canelo Álvarez. He won't be great if he defeats Canelo Álvarez, because all the stuff he's done until now, becoming 2-division undisputed, beating a lot of undefeated fighters and a lot of fighters with one loss, seems to not be anything. But even beating Canelo Álvarez, the face of boxing, 4-division champion, undisputed super middleweight champion, none of that would matter, because they list fighters that he would have to beat to become great. And most of them are fighters that 4-division champ, Canelo Álvarez, that he won't fight. He would have to beat Artur Beterbiev, right? Canelo ain't fighting him. He would have to beat Dimitri Bivol, who Canelo won't fight again, definitely at 168 pounds, because he wants to fight him at 175, because he wants to have the excuse that weight could be too big for him. Dimitri Bivol wants to fight Canelo Álvarez at 168, so he can become 2-division undisputed. Canelo doesn't want that. But Crawford has to beat that guy, right? Crawford has to beat David Benavidez as well, right? We know Canelo doesn't want to fight him, but Crawford has to beat him to become great, right? Remember, Canelo's great already. Then he would have to fight David Morrell.
That's it for today. Stay tuned for more Boxing Heat.